Hey, welcome on in, guys. It's Jordan with the Bet Locker here to bring you another DFS first look video and lineup builder for week 4 in the NFL. I've been looking all morning. Looks like there's some exploitable spots we can take, maybe some lines we want to draw or get over the field on depending on what contest you're entering. So let's dive in and look together. So we are I had some confusion. I did realize with some of my members that are new to DraftKings. So there's two types of contests, or really three. There is multi-entry, single entry, and cash games. So cash games is like 50-50s, like half the field is going to cash and half the field isn't. And those ones you want to take chalky people. You only want to get different in one spot. The multi-entry, which are these big ones, like these $20 entry ones, the Millie Maker, obviously, 20 entries. What this is you look right here. So what I'm saying is multi-entry, 150 lineups. So that means professionals and guys there are multiple thousands of people putting in the multiple max lineups of 150 entries into these. So if you only put in one and I put in 150, I have 150 combinations of guys this Sunday, and you only have one. I mean, I most likely am going to crush with at least 100 of my. You have to be dead spot on with your one lineup if you enter these with only one. So the theory is, I mean, if you're really confident in it, go ahead and put it in it. Maybe do 5 or 10, and then maybe you get lucky with one. But if you're not rolled or if you don't pick the right one, I like to max out if my bankroll, I do preach bankroll management, obviously. I like to max out the $3 one because it is only a 20 entry max. And that's easy. That's only $60. So no one can have more entries than me. Yes, there's 317,000 entries, but not one single guy is going to have more entries than me if I do 20. Everyone can only do 20 at a time. So it's my 20 versus their best 20. Or the other route that I like to go is just single entry. So usually they're big contests. 150. I think this might be a 3 max, but I know like this one. So single entry. So this is what I mean by multi-entry or single entry. You can find these. They have $12, $5 ones, $1, all the way up to 100 to 1,000, multiple, but single entry. So no multi-entry. It's just your best one. Your one best, and no one else can do multi-entries. Everyone can only choose one. So sometimes these are great, and it takes a lot less scoring. So sometimes like the Millie Maker is like 230 points to win first, but first place in this single entry is only 200 points. So it's literally 30 points less because not everyone has that perfect lineup. So sometimes it's easier to cash in these ones. It's just your one best lineup against my one best lineup. So I hope that clears everything up in when I say multi-entry or single entry. Make sure you're picking your spots well, and especially if you can't max out a contest like the 150 multi-entry ones, because I guarantee you, and I know for a fact, professionals and guys do max those out, and you're going to be behind the field on them because they have every single combination known to man. So if you don't want that, or if you're not rolled to do that, try the single entry ones. You probably cash a lot easier. So let's look at this slate, though. I'm just going to pick any random lineup. My balance obviously says 0. I did break even last week, but usually I always cash it out and deposit back in. You guys don't have to do this, but I like to do that because if I see it, I'll spend it. Degenerates. But also you get deposit bonuses. You get multiple different things to do that for depositing all the time as well. But in my case, if I see it, I'll spend it. So I always withdraw everything I have in there so I know it's in my personal account and I can use it that way. And then I only deposit when I'm ready to enter the lineups that I want. And I know that you're probably thinking, like, why don't you enter the same lineups? I always like to look at the builds that I'm making first and see if I really like them and if they're chalky or if they're not, and then which contest those lineups should be going in. So then I might get into like 3 single entry ones, or I might be like, you know what, screw it. I like being different this week, so I'm going to put in 50 entries into the $20 one instead. Sometimes we'll max it out, but we got to get those big scores first early in the season to then start maxing them out later on. Anyways, that's what I do. You guys don't have to do that, but that's how I like to do it, just so I can be more what I'm trying to say, bankroll management or discipline with myself for not just willy-nilly putting in lineups that don't have a chance. So anyways, let's look at this week. So there are some spots. When I was looking early this morning, I was looking at some. I like to go through my motions of like who's giving up the most passing yards, who's giving up the most rushing yards, stuff like that. And I know it's only been 3 weeks, but you can still lean on those. And there are some games that really inflate those numbers if they've had huge weeks. Kind of like, I'll give you an example: the Baltimore and um, Bills game that they played week one. They both had over almost 500 yards each. That's going to inflate the numbers a little bit. But you can look at the last 2 weeks and they still are giving up a lot of yards. So my first target, I think, is, or what I want to look at for passing, is going to be probably Kansas City but I don't like their receivers. So just looking at it, just going down my list of who I like to be targeting in the passing game this week was Kansas City, Carolina, Chargers, Raiders, and Chicago. That you can game stack that one really easy. Might be a little chalky this week, but you can get different in other places. But I mean, like, go down the list. Baltimore has given up already 266 yards per game on average for passing. The Patriots have given up 256 yards on average per passing. So those are the types of things I like to look at to be like, okay, who's giving up some yards here? Perfect. Let's go target maybe those quarterbacks and those receivers. So let's try one with, man, I don't like, obviously, the first name I wrote off was Kansas City because they're playing Baltimore and because Baltimore has given up the most yards so far in the passing game, 266. So on average per game. So, but their receivers, I just don't love them. Obviously, they don't have anyone. If you go to that game specifically, obviously, if you go passing, you go Patrick. I mean, you can look right here. These are helpful, but do your own research as well. Oh, I hate that. I can't. I hate that I just said that. I hate that statement. Do your own research. But 29th, I mean, their opponent is ranked 29th right now in opposing ranking for pass, like against quarterbacks. So it does help, but those numbers change so often. So don't use those as a Bible or anything. So if you're looking at Mahomes and then his passing, let's see Worthy. Let's see what these, do not trust these guys as news all the way up and even until kickoff. I know that when it says questionable or not, don't look at these. Look at Adam Schefter. Look at the actual ESPN or the NFL depth charts and injury reports. Don't trust these, but they give you a good ruling early in the week. So like this, it's old, September 20th. That's 4 days ago, his news. So he's still questionable, but new news, we don't know yet. So anyways, let's say he's not playing again. And if you were looking to target these guys, I like Tyquan Thornton. He's a big, tall boy. I think that Mahomes is trying to lean on him a little bit more, like he did last season in Xavier Worthy. But I mean, he's dirt cheap too. 4K. He's the bare minimum for receive. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. They have bare minimums in another spot for quarterback for 4K. 3K is it, but I mean, still dirt cheap. So if you do that, something like that, and then you do you even trust Travis Kelce? I mean, I don't, but they're going to get involved. And if Baltimore's given up that many passing yards, I mean, you just never know. Who did Baltimore play this last week? Oh, they played the Lions. So who did they give up? They played a lot of zone. So who's the guy for Patrick Mahomes that gets into the zone coverage? I guess it is Kelce. I mean, Tyquan Thornton goes for those deep balls, and Hollywood Brown would be a zone guy. I mean, you could do not really an onslaught, but you could do Tyquan, Hollywood, and Travis. It's not bad. No one's really going to like it. I mean, look how dirt cheap it is, though. You can go and get anyone. Rushing wise, I was looking this morning and I wanted to kind of target I mean, it's risky, but Buffalo's given up already 156 on average rushing yards. Their defensive line and their linebackers aren't really doing great. So, I mean, you could throw in a little Alvin Kamara. I mean, he's their workhorse. He's their only back that they use. So you could throw in him if you are feeling frisky and want to. But you have to think of game scripts too, because like if Baltimore goes up early a lot by 2 touchdowns, like they're favored to do, is Alvin Kamara going to be running the ball? Probably not. They're going to be leaning on the passing game again. So maybe you lean on, I don't know, let's say, who else was I looking at for rushing? Chargers might be a good one if they go up early and they only have I mean, sucks what happened to Najee Harris, shredding his Achilles, which is crazy. I mean, injuries for everyone. Like last season, it was all Achilles. This season, it's like shoulders and now Achilles again. Always the knee. But, anyways, my point is, the Giants are on average giving up 153 yards rushing. So now that the run game for the Chargers is a little bit more condensed because Najee is out. So now they're just going to be heavily leaning on Amari and Hampton, right? Hampton, yeah. And so if you throw him in there, because I mean, they have Hassan Haskins still, they might lean on him on the goal line. They did last season when they still had Eckler. I don't know. I think they're going to lean on him. I think he's going to be really chalky, though, because people are going to think that same thing, that he's going to be the workhorse, which he probably is, but maybe he's not the goal line back. So, but my point is targeting game scripts, too, with those guys that are giving up rushing yards, like the Giants. They're averaging 156 rushing yards on defense giving up. So if the Chargers go up early and then they just lean on the run game to try and get out of there, like Harbaugh likes to do, and just run out the clock, maybe Hampton's going to see 20 touches, and then you get there by sheer volume. So do something like that. Or you can do something like, who else was I looking at? The Panthers have already given up. They're on average 137 yards per game. And let me show you something interesting that I was looking at this morning. Well, not looking at, but I was remembering. So Ramondre Stevenson, he lost 2 fumbles last week, 1 on the goal line. And Antonio Gibson, he has fumbled the most in the NFL on average for running backs since 2021. And he lost a fumble last week. So are they going to be leaning on Travion Henderson more, the guy that they drafted and that guy that everyone drafted in their fantasy leagues because they're expecting him to be the guy? Maybe. I mean, and with the Panthers, I mean, I know what the Panthers did to the Falcons last week, but you can't use that small sample size as a Bible either. Like they're not going to do the same thing this week. So they're probably going to give up a lot of yards like they have been. So like even that number, they're averaging 137 yards given to rushing opponents. And the Falcons didn't even give up, like they didn't even cross, what was it, like the 30-yard line or something last week against them. So that number is deflated in a way, because if the Falcons, if Bijan did anything for them, then that number would probably be more like 150, 160 yards, maybe even more, 170. So maybe you go Travion Henderson there, and they're going to lean on him more because they're sick of those fumbles. And then you do a bring back, obviously, if Kansas City's up, and you go bring back with, Mark Andrews looked good. He was targeted a lot in the red zone, and he got those 2 touchdowns. Zay Flowers wasn't targeted at all. Maybe McDuffie locks him down a little bit more. Rashad Bateman, and they did kind of lock down Zay Flowers a little bit, and that's why Bateman was open all the time. Maybe they switch it. Maybe they lock down him. DeAndre Hopkins, revenge game against Kansas City. He didn't get to win against them. Also, one thing when I was studying that game for the captain's picks, Lamar Jackson loves to throw to DeAndre Hopkins when they play man. So look up to see if Kansas City plays man. Maybe he goes to DeAndre Hopkins a little bit more. And maybe let's just put him in as a cheap run back. Look at this. You have anyone you want. So running back, let's get rid of these guys. Let's just go all games. Everyone always targets Christian McCaffrey. He's going to be the highest owned guy again. But if you look at the small sample size, 4th ranked against opponents, Jacksonville does pretty good. So maybe you go some Bijan is in an okay spot. Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, you never know who it's going to be on any given drive. It sucks. Jonathan Taylor's an absolute monster. But I feel like the Colts are going to be playing from behind this week, so they're probably going to be passing more because I feel like the Rams are really good and they're going to be doing some good passes. Let's see. Who else was I looking at? Philly has given up. Let's see how many Philly has given up. How many is Philly given up yards wise? For rushing, Philly has already given up, which is surprising, 133 yards on average to opponents. So maybe you go like a Bucky Irving. Maybe he gets a lot of checkdowns and a lot of rusher. I don't know. He's probably going to be low owned. People aren't going to want to take him against the Eagles because Eagles are supposed to be known for stopping the defense or stopping the run, but they haven't yet this season. They're giving up they're in the bottom 7. So maybe you go like a Bucky Irving there. He's going to be really low owned. And then flex, who do you got? You can get anyone you want, really. Puka Nacua, his target share. What's Puka's target share? Let's go look at Puka's target share. I mean, their target share has really only been he is the highest in the NFL right now in receiving yards. His target share is 37% right now on the Rams. The only other person that has the other 30% is Devontae Adams, and then the other person is Kyron Williams. I mean, their offense is really isolated to those guys. So if you go back and you go to Puka Nacua, seeing a lot of targets, then you can go get. I mean, look how much room you have to do any changes that you want. Another thing is other videos or any other like podcasts or any things I listen to. They always say that the defense does not matter. Well, last week shows that sometimes the defense does matter. I think the point is it's hard to choose which one you think is going to have 3 touchdowns like the Vikings did last week. But if you guessed the Vikings right last week, you got 30 points from your defensive position versus someone that I was heavy on was targeting those rookie quarterbacks. Like I had Raiders, they only got me 1 point. And if you got the one right going against Browning and the team that got 3 touchdowns, the Vikings, 30 points. I mean, there are weeks, and I think that it does still matter. Like, I think you can't just click in anyone that you want. So, like, for instance, we have so much salary room. Let's say we are targeting the Bills, and let's say they're just picking off Rattler like crazy. I mean, you still have 1,800 remaining. You can get whoever you want. You can switch out Hollywood Brown. I actually like Hollywood Brown this week if I'm doing a Mahomes stack. Thornton, switch out Thornton. Now you have 5,800. You can go get Xavier Worthy. You could go get Drake London. Ricky Pearsall's questionable now all of a sudden, and they're going to have no receivers left. Keon Coleman. Let's see what the Saints have been giving up in the passing game. Let's see here. Saints in the passing game have been given up. Let's see. Why isn't this showing me? There we go. Well, our website's not updated yet. Anyways, you could do something like that and just be different. Get some top guys. Keon Coleman might be targeted a lot. That's an option to go. Let's try another one. So the passing game I really like to target this week, or the game stack that I really like to target this week, was the Raiders in Chicago. Just like last week, everyone was on Cowboys and Chicago because both secondaries sucked, and rightfully so. I mean, it wasn't the Millie Maker. The Millie Maker ended up being Geno Smith, which was crazy, and Trey Tucker, which we all should have seen that coming. Trey was only like 3,300 last week, and he loves to throw to Trey Tucker. So let's see how much he is right now. So Gino, let's say you do game stack. I mean, meaning you just do literally that game. So Gino throwing a lot to his guys, which would be, man, you could do a complete game stack. Watch this. Because the reason why I'm saying that is because Chicago's already averaging 247 yards of offense for passing given up so far, and the Raiders are giving up 237 yards. So they're giving up a ton of passing yards right now on average every game. So if you go and game stack that game, which is in the afternoon, you could go something like Geno with Jacoby and with Trey Tucker. He's still dirt cheap. He came up $1,000 because of the week he had last week, the highest scoring wide receiver in fantasy last week. And then you go tight end, obviously Brock Bowers. He loves to throw to him. And then you could go Roma Dunze. I feel like he would be really chalky. Rightfully so, though. He's loving to pass to him. But what if they lock him down a little bit more and DJ gets more of those screen passes? I'm always stuck on those screen passes for DJ, but I feel like they are still looking to do that. So you do something like that, and then that leaves you 5,900. The rushing that you want to target could do the Saints. You could do Chargers because it's more condensed. You could do I don't trust Kansas City, even though Baltimore's given up a lot of yards also. You could do Houston. The Titans are giving up 145 yards on average, and Nico hasn't been looking really good. So you could do something. I was big on Nico last week, by the way. Or sorry, I'm saying Nico. Stroud to Nico. I was big on that last week, and Nico did okay, but Stroud didn't do anything great. So maybe they lean on the run game a little bit more. And you go Houston, you go Nick Chubb. He still seems to be number one. I know they run Marks and Pierce here and there, but Nick Chubb still seems to be the guy right now. So you could go Nick Chubb. And who else was I looking to target? Chicago's giving up 139 yards. Panthers 130. Oh, yeah. Panthers. Travion Henderson. Who would that give us? We're going to have so much room again. But you can go get whoever you want. That's the best thing about doing these cheaper lineups. They're going to be less owned, and you can get some stars that you would like to take. So flex, you could go get Puka Nacua again. I think he's going to have a great game. Nico Collins. Not Malik Neighbors. Chargers secondary looks awesome. I mean, let's type in. Let's just plug in Puka again. Again, you can go get whoever you want. I mean, defense, you're going to have so much left on the table again to where, let's just say you go Bills. They're going to crush them again. And you have 1,700 remaining. Maybe you don't go Travion Henderson. Maybe you go someone like a Bucky Irving. That one that people aren't going to want to take, but he's going to have a lot of checkdowns. He's going to have a lot of rushing, and especially against this Philly defense that people do not want to target. But they've given up a lot of yards so far. So maybe they're not as good this year on the run game and better against the passing. So one other thing that I wanted to say in these contests, because these contests that I'm projecting and showing these first live looks and building these lineups of what these look like, and maybe some game stacks that you can do, like this game stack right here. I have watched and seen and been involved in top 5 lineups and the winning lineup. And even if I'm not in the winning lineup or in the top 50, I always look at who won, what was the winning lineup, because I want to see what people are thinking and doing that specific season, because DFS gets so much better over the years and people get so good at it, and they have gotten so good at it in the last 5 years that you can't exploit some spots like you used to, like game stacking is an example. People didn't know to do that 10 years ago, but now everyone knows to do it. So you just kind of go with the flow. Anyways, my point being is, and what I wanted to say was, I I've seen it one time, and I've been studying and watching for 5 years straight in the sport and in other sports like NBA. I don't know about baseball so much. I feel like that's such a hard sport to do on DraftKings. You have to just be focused on just that one sport and the spots that you want to take and game stacking and whatnot. But anyways, in NFL and in NBA, I have yet to see a winning lineup end with the first games. So if your whole stack and your whole team is just the 11 o'clock games and you don't have anyone in the afternoon games, I I feel like you probably have a 1% chance of winning. And other sites or other people might call that crazy and stupid because it's all about projections and points, so it doesn't matter about time. I'm telling you, I've watched, and maybe that's a secret. Maybe that's why they say it, because it really truly is, and maybe they don't want to tell you. I don't care. I'm going to tell you guys. I have watched the first place lineup religiously for 6 years now, and I've yet to see the lineup end with only morning games. So my point is, at in every single lineup that you take, make sure that you have at least one player that will go off or get you points in the afternoon games. At least one, maybe two. Don't ever let it be a defense, because that is points taken away. It's going to be risky. You could do only the defense, and maybe they get you 3 touchdowns like the Vikings last week, but they were a morning team. But anyways, regardless, I've yet to see it. I've yet to see it in NBA, and I've yet to see it in the NFL. I've seen it one time. I'll take my chances with that one time. But always have someone scoring you points in the end, because I've seen it so many times, and I bet the guys are so mad. The guy's sitting on the $1 million or sitting on the 100,000, and they have no guys left and no other guys are around him, like are close to points. And right at the last minute, they get passed because the teams had guys still going and scoring touchdowns and getting points. And the first place that ended with the early games didn't have anyone left. So his points were set in stone. He didn't have a chance to get those extra points. I haven't seen it. So just trust me now. Thank me later. Make sure you leave yourself outs and in your lineups that you have at least 1 to 2 guys in the afternoon games. So that's my piece of advice definitely this week. So let's have a great week. Let's make some money. Here's some first look lineups, like I said, that I've been looking at in the passing game to run it down again. Maybe target and maybe go with the Chiefs, the Panthers, the Chargers, or the Raiders in Chicago. Those are the 5 teams that I was looking at this week to target in the passing game to choose from. And then in the rushing game, I was looking at maybe going with the Saints, the Chargers again, Houston, Vegas, or New England. Those are the 5 teams that I was looking to target this week, also in the rushing game, to run that back down for you guys. So as always, this changes as soon as I get my projections out for what the ownership is going to look like. I will complete my cheat sheet. So that looks like right here. I give the top 3 quarterbacks. I give the top 3 to 4 running backs, 3 to 4 wide receivers, 3 to 4 tight ends. And then I give at least 2 from every position in the under 10% owned GPP. So in that way, that's your leverage spot to get different in other places in your lineups if it's super chalky. And then your top stacks. I've had the top stack every single week this week, at least. I give at least 2 tops and 2 Hail Marys, but I always give a, great runner up. So usually I give 5 stacks of what's looking good. I've had the top stack every single week. So you just still need to know how to mix and match the perfect guys in those stacks. Like, for instance, everyone stacked Geno with Jacoby Myers last week. I had the Raiders stack, but the key was Geno with Trey Tucker. So you still have to know how to mix and match them right. You can get the top stacks right, but at least it gives you a starting point to get some cash. So super cheap, guys. It's only $6.99 for weekly and $19.99 for monthly. So if you do it, I mean, you're pretty much essentially getting 2 weeks free if you get it up for a month. I wanted to make this cheap because I wanted just to make it affordable of, just giving you my insight and my expertise as cheap as possible. So in that way we can all crush together. And then I also give out for this exact price, I give out all of our picks I'm going to make a prop section. So that's where I'm going with in the future is prop picks and best prop bets. So you'll see that video tomorrow. Tomorrow is my first video for that. And then you also get invited to our Discord channel. I know I'm preaching that so much, but I'm telling you, we are crushing in that Discord channel. The last week alone, we gave out 2 extra winners in college football, an extra winner in NFL. One of our members went 6-0 one night in baseball. 2 of the guys tailed him. They crushed baseball. And all of that is in our Discord channel because it's all just like brains, gambling, degenerate brains, talking about spots that we're like and seeing that we want to take and crush the books together. So all of this included, all of our picks, all of our cheat sheets. When golf comes back, we're going to have golf cheat sheets. And then NBA comes, we're going to have those and prop betting. And so be on the lookout tomorrow for that prop bets video. But all of this, you get everything included for $6.99 for a week or $19.99 for a month. Dirt cheap. I know that's the cheapest in the market, but I wanted to just have everyone come along with us so that way we can win together. So that's it, guys. BetLocker.com. Go join now. You're going to love it. And this cheat sheet will be out Friday. So if you want to join Friday to get the whole cheat sheet out, I'm going to have projections and ownerships out. So in that way I can know who exactly to take and target this week. And then that's where our Discord channel comes into play because any changes needed, I do put in multiple updates on Friday and Saturday of who you can be swapping out. So that's it, guys. We'll see you tomorrow for the prop bets video, and we'll see you next time.